Shabbat Shalom, Shmuel here, Parashat Vayerah. In the beginning of the portion, we hear about God visiting Abraham. Abraham was sick. Why sick? Because he was just circumcised. So he sits and he dwells there in the front of the tent, and God visits him. But when God visits him, he sees three strangers walking there in the desert. So it's very important for Abraham. Now, in the extreme pain after circumcision, 3 days in, when God himself is visiting him, it's very important for Abraham to stand and to walk and to receive his guests. And he welcomes there and he feeds them. And you know the story. And the question that is going to be asked today is, really, Abraham? God is standing in front of you, visiting you, and you are dealing with strangers, with guests. You don't know them. I think that's a perspective that really shows us a bigger, wide vision of what is the Torah about. What are those commands? We read about this and we learn from it the command to have guests, welcome guests. The very basic notion of having guests or any other forming a mitzvah, a command, is that we want to practice to be closer to God. We need to be good. So we need to practice by performing all those rituals, all those commands, that the greater vision is how we can connect to God and be more godlike, how we can be more righteous, how can we have more kindness. So that's the weirdest question. If we are performing all those acts and we're doing those commands to connect to God, if God stands in front of you, why you leave him and you host people? You should take advantage. That's your time. That's exactly the goal, no? To connect with God. You're visiting. He visits you. I think the perspective here is beautiful, and it says as follows. It is important to connect with God, but there's also this world. And in this world, we need to be better people. We need to be kind people. In Judaism, we call it tikkun olam, repairing the world. God is there, is always going to be there. He was there all the time. When you see your friends in need, when you see somebody that is looking, is desperate, he needs you, you should leave everything in the back and connect and help this person. I don't need to teach you about kindness. I saw so much kindness from our supporters and friends of CFOIC. You are teaching me what kindness is. You are looking at us and you understand that you want to support. There are people here that needs my help and I'm going to help them. That is something we'll learn from Abraham in this portion. God created the world. Everything we see around us is God image. We can help God's image. We can help people. We can support friends, family, community, people that we care about. That is really encountering and meeting God in the biggest way. There's a beautiful story. During COVID time in New York, you remember, everybody was locked down. Everything, you could not meet your family. And it happened to be just the beginning there in March, April, the Jewish holiday of Passover. And you all know that in Passover, we are celebrating in a beautiful Seder night. We bring our family, we bring our friends, we eat matzot, we drink wine, we celebrate the Exodus. And the story says that in one apartment building in New York, there was an old lady that could not reunite with her kids. It was against the law. So she had to stay there by herself in her apartment. Luckily, there was a Jewish neighbor just living just door in front of her. So he knocked on the door a couple of days before Passover, and he asked, I understand you're going to stay here. We are here. So let me do this. Bring a chair, sit in your apartment, and we will be right here. Doors open. You can hear us. Gonna be great. So that's what they do. They celebrate Passover, and when Passover is over, the holiday is over, her son calls her and he asks her, "Nu, how was the holiday?" And she says, "It was amazing, but more than that, I'm a widow. I'm by myself. And this year, the family nearby, I just realized they're singing all the songs and all the tunes exactly like your father did, exactly like my husband did. And it was such a great time. I was by myself, but the spirit of our family, of my husband, of your father, was there with us with all the tunes and the music that I know and I love and appreciate. And of course, every family has different tunes. It was amazing that our neighbors, had the same tunes." So her son says, "Wow, now I realize something. Just a couple of days before the holidays, he called me, this neighbor, and he asked me, 'Can you give me some of the famous tunes your father had on the Seder table?' Do you understand what happened? This kind person called her son to know the songs that were sang on the Seder table, that the wife, the widow, the mother is going to feel welcome. She's going to feel happy. She's going to rejoice that for one night, being there by herself alone, she will remember the family, the husband, their kids, knowing she has in a warm place in her heart. That's thinking about others. That's connecting to God. That's putting us on a different level of connection. Shabbat Shalom.